Hello, my name is Sydney. In this tutorial, we will be discussing variables. Specifically, we will be focusing on text variables with the Smart Package robot. I will be your classmate for this lesson. I will be asking you some questions.
Hi, I'm Theo. Let's explore variables and text variables with the Smart Package robot.
So let's start very simple. What is a variable?
Imagine a futuristic hairdresser where customers enter with long hair and exit with short hair. To plan or describe this hairdresser, a variable is used. The variable, people or customers, represents the hundreds of individuals with different names who will visit the shop. By using this variable, the system of the hairdresser shop can be described.
I remember I had a Commodore 64 some years ago, and I could just write $, hello world, and then I could use the print command to print it out. Is it still like that?
Smart Package Robot allows you to print using traditional methods. It supports download-compatible commands such as Visual Basic Script, JavaScript, and PowerShell. Would you like to see a sample?
Oh yes, please show me a sample. Do you mean I could write the text variable without these double quotes? Okay, I see. You have just copied the structure into the Smart PKG robot editor. And then... Can you explain this a bit to me, please?
See how we use double quotes and commas in the code? They can be directly combined and assigned to the text variable in the Smart Package robot. Since the variables have a fixed length, there's no need for any symbols to indicate where they end. This makes the process much simpler. Just copy, paste, and add the variable name in front. It's easy.
Now look, we have numbers here. For example, 60 or 0.7 or even names. This is a test, for example. What if I want to include variables into these structures?
I'll show you. Watch.
Oh, I see. Because the double quotes do not play a role, you can simply replace the values in the structure with other variable names and define them in the script or wherever you want. But look, there are new commands. We have here VFP and VIN.
The Smart Package robot only understands short commands, like 1, 2, 3 letters and a dot. It's a bit old-fashioned, but it means you don't have to type a lot. Just use the variable name and the concatenation operator, and the preprocessor will add the var command for you.
But now why do we need a var command in VFP and ven?
Variables in memory are stored differently. Text variables require more memory cells depending on the number of characters, while numbers have a fixed length. For example, floating point numbers use 18 bytes with the Smart Package Robot, while integers only use 4 to 8 bytes. This is why we need a different command for each. The command does both the declaration, specifying how many bytes to reserve, and the definition, stating what's inside the box. This can be done in just 4 letters.
Does the Smart Package Robot really have variable types? Different types of variables? I see you have changed the script a bit. What does it do now?
Take a look at the script. We've defined variables using different commands, with and without the var command. The preprocessor will automatically add the var command if it's not explicitly stated. We also have the VFP command for floating point numbers and the ven command for integer numbers. Each variable is followed by a go-sub command, which means jump to subprogram, and the name of the subprogram is located below. The pipe operator in the Smart Package Robot indicates that a parameter is coming up in the subprogram. We've referenced this parameter using a special variable. Whatever we write as the parameter will appear where you see this special variable. Finally, we use the gvt command to get the variable type and print it in the debug window. Let's give it a try.
Okay, let's give it a try. Where did the debug window go?
I pressed the silver button on the button bar and it opened a debug window.
Oh, that's interesting. I have pressed that button, and now we see the VAR types. So we can see the first variable type was 1, and on the left side we see it's a string variable. The second was also one where the preprocessor did the VIPR command. And then the third has a var type of 5, and the last one has a VR type of 4. That's quad. Just what we have expected.
Now that you know the Smart Package Robot has multiple var types, do you still think you need to worry about the 7 or 8 var types mentioned in the help file for normal script?
Do you want to say that the Smart Package Robot has various types, but I usually don't have to worry about it?
Exactly. In most scripts, you don't need to worry about defining variable types. Only certain types of scripts require this, but for the rest, you can stick with type 1 string and still accomplish everything. This is because the Smart Package Robot automatically handles typecasting, so you don't have to manually change the type of a variable.
If I understand you correctly, I can do calculations with just a string type?
Let me show you how to do this. The string type is the main variable type for the Smart Package Robot, with only a few exceptions for scientific numbers. In most cases, the string type will work perfectly.
Oh, I see. There was another variable definition command which you used here.
The ven command assigns numbers to variables and can also solve calculations in brackets. This is important, so make sure to use brackets. Let's take a look.
This time, we have just used text variables, and we can even make calculations with these. Is $$res now a string or a text variable?
Let's check the variable's type and see what it is.
Oh, I see. You have also changed the script more, so that it's even more visible what's happening.
Result of calculation with VIN, variable type 5.
Yes, type 5. I remember type 5 was extended precision floating point.
Let's add two text variables with integers and see the result. The type will always be 5, meaning we'll get a floating point variable as the result.
But for then command, I always need to use these brackets. What if I don't want to use these brackets? We have calculation command, like a pocket calculator.
As you can see, we have a calculation command for mathematical calculations. It gives us a result type 5, which is extended precision floating point. It can also fix missing brackets. For example, I left out the first bracket, but it was automatically repaired.
I said I don't want any brackets. Besides doing calculations, you can use the calculate command to include decisions in the formula. For this, you have also 4 decision signs. The result of these logical operations is always 0 or 1. And then you can use these in your formula to get a result.
Example for a decision command.
Okay, so you made new A greater than new B, but that's not right. It's not greater. So I expect us to get a result of 0.
Let's turn it around and expect a result of 1.
Exactly. We got the result of 1, and now we can make a lot of these decisions inside a formula and take the result and use it, for example, for a sort of if command.
Let's try this updated script with more features from the calculation command. We'll add 2 floating point numbers and make 2 decisions. One of the decisions has a number added to a variable in brackets, and we can nest brackets unlimitedly. Then we'll add both decisions and display the result in a message box. We also have an if command that checks the value of a variable. If it's 0, we'll print true. Otherwise, we'll print not true. Let's give it a go.
Oh, this looks interesting.
We got a 0 from the decision command because $NUA plus 100 was not smaller than $NUB. Now, let me show you another feature.
Okay, let me zien.
Here we add 2 floating point numbers with brackets for clarity. The result is a floating point. To get an integer result, we can make a simple change.
Oh, I see. You have custom rounding of results. This means you can say, round my results. On the left side in the help file, I can see different options.
Yes, I added rounding to integer and got the expected result.
And you could use integer, ceil, fixed point, fractional, absolute, rounding. You can even use a sign, to just get return if the sign is negative or positive. Okay, we didn't really pay attention to the IVE, variable value conditional statement below the MBX, but we can do that now. So basically, if the result is 0, the message box "it's true" will pop up, otherwise "it's not true" will be displayed. Can you turn this around? It means if it's 1 or not 0, I want it to be true. And if it's 0, I want to come. It's not true.
There are multiple ways to do that. The easiest way is to change the ASUR to an N, which will work with all if conditions. Let's try it.
Yeah, I see. It works. We have just switched the 2 blocks by just changing 1 letter. It's just like we say, if not, instead of if.
We could have done it differently. Instead of using if not, we could have used is not. Hello there. I'm happy to clarify any confusion you may have. Our process involves using the Smart Package robot and Whisper technology. We dictate the text, which is then sent to ChatGPT for refinement. Finally, we use 11 labs to speak the polished text aloud. Does that make sense?
Yes, that really makes sense. And how does it all work together? How does Whisper work and all this stuff?
Yes, that really makes sense. And how does it all work together? How does Whisper work? And all this stuff?
I can explain that to you. Also, generally in this script, we have the dictate function from the Smart Package robot, which is just one command here, and we dictate the text with this. It will return the text in letters, and then we send it as a prompt to GPT 3.5 and ask it to format it nicely and make it professionally and like this. And then we go back and we tell 11 labs voice synthesis to speak it loud. And also we can set the voice to female, or we can choose a male voice out of several. So we can even make a dialogue.
Can you explain the dictate function in more detail? Sure, the dictate function is a command from our Smart Package robot that allows us to input text and have it returned in letters. We then use this text as a prompt for GPT 3.5 to format it professionally. Afterwards, we use 11 Labs voice synthesis to speak the text aloud, with the option to choose a male or female voice. How does GPT 3.5 format the text? GPT 3.5 uses advanced algorithms to format the text in a professional and polished manner. It takes into account grammar, punctuation, and tone to ensure the text is of high quality. Can you give an example of how this dialogue would work? Of course. Let's say we want to create a dialogue between two characters. We would use the dictate function to input the dialogue, then send it to GPT 3.5 to format it nicely. Finally, we would use 11 Labs voice synthesis to have the dialogue spoken aloud, with the option to choose different voices for each character. Can we customize the voices for the dialogue? Yeah. Yes, you can choose from a variety of male and female voices to add more depth.